All right, everybody. Welcome to Metal Truthers. I'm Wraith. Guessing Brandon's busy right now. Um, I haven't heard from him yet. I sent him an invite, so hopefully he'll show up. If not, it'll just be me. Today's just a random topic episode. Some things that are kind of heavy on my mind that I kind of wanted to get out there with the people, and some of this may be slightly controversial to some of y'all. Not like anything we do isn't technically, but whatever. So, to kick things off tonight, I want to talk about, you know, I've seen a lot of hate going around on Facebook lately, mainly towards migrants, things of that nature. And look, y'all are going to take this as a straw horse, try to read it the wrong way. I already know y'all are. I'm not defending the migrants at all by any means. Don't get me wrong there. I'm not defending their lifestyle, their culture, nothing like that, but we're going to have a serious talk about this real quick because see, there's a problem with people not being able to discern between Muslims and what we would call Islam, the Nation of Islam, otherwise ISIS. Um, the reality is, I mean, just in all reality, the truth is, in all fairness, Muslims and Islam are two different things altogether. Islam is not the Muslim culture. The Muslim culture is not Islam. In fact, Islam is more of a political ideology than anything else. That's why they a terrorist organization because it is, you know, I mean, that's why terrorism is linked with it. Is political attacks done, using death and fear to gain political to gain a fuck. Sorry, people, my brain's a little scattered. Had a long day at work. It was really hot. I'm trying to send invites to Brandon to see if he'll come in if he's available. So people, fuck. Uh, anyway, so what I'm getting at though is that they're two different things. All right, they're two different things. People are on Facebook hating on Muslims in general. Now, I will say the Muslim culture does not mix with Western culture at all, period. And I truly believe that some of these attacks that we've seen recently, as in some of the, mass killings where people are driving into people and such that nature, I think I have an idea somewhat where it's spawning from. Now, admittedly, there are definitely radical ISIS fighters, of course, because we fund them, so there'd be no reason we wouldn't be slipping a few of them in with the migrants into every country. But here's the thing: most of these attacks, I don't think, are being caused by necessarily what we would consider radicals. Not per se. What I would say the radical, it's a radical movement, but the aspect of it is you've got to understand these people generationally have been raised. Things are right, certain things are wrong. Well, to their culture, by all technicalities, the entirety of Western society, the way we run our culture, is as sinful as it gets to these people. With your women running around, what you scantily clad, you know, feminists not caring, what they look like and how what you can see and can't see, and nudity, pornography, drugs, sex, violence, rampant everywhere. Um, on TV, radio, schools, everywhere. It's everywhere. These people know and they see this. So do you not? I mean, yes, and there's a reason they're setting up basically Sharia no-go zones here because they can't incorporate to our culture, not as quickly as we're bringing them in. And the issue that we're having is it's a clash, number one, and number two, I legitimately think that some of these people get over here and they instantaneously become terrified of us, and other not because like in a sense of oh, these people are going to beat me up, in a sense of these people are living demons that are walking around committing the worst sins that they can possibly commit, and blatant defiance of God. And it freaks them out so bad that the only way they can think is to battle the evil the only way they know how, which is through violence. Now, I'm not saying that's no excuse for what's going on. I'm just trying to get people to understand that there's multiple facets to what's happening. And yes, it's because these people have a radical culture, okay? I mean, the Muslim culture is radical in our eyes because we weren't raised in it. Should we have been raised over in Saudi Arabia or Afghanistan or Iraq or Libya or, any of those areas? If we have been raised in any of these countries where this kind of stuff happens and that created the mentality that these people have, then we would have that same mentality, guaranteed. And then if we were to get thrown into Western society, we would panic because to us, it would seem like these are blatant demons just running around and that this is a hellish society and that this is the pinnacle. This is where the Antichrist would be. That's how they would see it because, and another thing is a lot of these are happening because you got to look back in history. This is almost the same thing that happened with the Christians when they tried to take over pagans aggressively and change their structure. See, we bring the Muslims over here, but then we expect them to change their entire lifestyle, the way they raise their kids, all the moral values that they had brought their families up in, that are their moral values over there. Well, since they don't apply here, now they've got to turn around and raise their children completely differently against their moral code, basically. And then for the devout Muslims, the people that they look at the way their children are acting and behaving after just a year to 2 years of being exposed to our culture, and these kids become belligerent. They start dressing like whores. They start doing whatever they want to do because that is the Western way. We don't have respect anymore. We don't have a moral construct anymore. We don't have anything. We don't even have devout religious here. People claim to be devout and religious, but if you look at the way they live their lives, they're in no shape, form, or fashion following their religions to a T and showing what a true devout holy man would look like, in my personal opinion. Not saying that people don't try, not saying there's not people out there that truly believe they're serving God, but nonetheless, they're backwards. They've got it all fucking wrong at this point. And it's not their fault. They were told to be like they are. To be like they are. Betty, shut the hell up. So, it's basically, people have to learn that now you can't group all Muslims together, just like you can't group all pagans together, just like you can't put all black people in Black Lives Matter, because not all black people subscribe to that idiotic bullshit. Now, I'm not saying that black lives in general don't matter. No lives matter to me. I mean, I'm not jumping on any of those bandwagons. But if we're going to have to go with the lives matter situation, then why can't all lives matter? And that includes black lives. Not just white lives, not just Mexicans, not just Asians. Why do not all lives on this planet matter? And why is it that, and see, another thing that people are having an issue with is that y'all are looking at the problems the wrong way. Y'all are actually seeing the wrong problems. Y'all are seeing problems that aren't even necessarily there, but it's easier for you to create that problem than to acknowledge the real one. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to the police brutality, y'all are refusing to acknowledge that power is to blame here. It's not the way the cops are being trained. It's not the people that they're choosing to be cops. It's not the corrupt justice system in general. It is power. See, the justice system was corrupted by its unwavering power. It gets to make the laws of these things. So, with it being able to make the laws, the criminal justice system has nothing to adhere to. Because, as you can obviously tell, the criminal justice system does not serve justice upon itself. Only the populace, only the sheep get tried and convicted. Your cops, your judges, your lawyers, most politicians, every now and then they have to sacrifice a few of them. A few cops get sacrificed to the criminal justice system. A few corrupt judges get sacrificed to the criminal justice system. A few politicians every now and then get sacrificed to the criminal justice system just so that the people don't catch on to the fact that 99% of the politicians and corrupt lawyers and corrupt judges and corrupt cops aren't getting charged at all. They're walking away scot-free. Nothing to do with the way anybody's being trained, the schooling, none of that. It's power. Y'all don't seem to get that. Like I stated the other night, Brandon even agreed with it. Hopefully he comes on because I'd really like him to jump in on this topic. But the reality is that power corrupts. If you were to give me or him power, within a couple of months to a couple of years, we would definitely become tyrants. Why? Because power is corrupting. And even just the thought of power can corrupt you. If you start thinking about your dreams of once you have power, notice how dark those dreams will get pretty fucking quickly. You know? Because you'll start having dreams about, well, what if this person tried to challenge me? Or what if this person got out of line and didn't like my laws? You know what I mean? You'll start thinking about things like that. And once you started thinking about things like that, then all of a sudden, the way the elites think makes a lot more sense to you because you're thinking like a tyrant. You see, you can't understand the way the elites work without first putting yourself in their shoes, which means, you know, now I'm not saying you need to go experiment with the dark side and go full fucking, you know, Anakin Skywalker on people, but you do have to experience the darker nature of life. You do have to get involved with the dark side. You have to allow your mind to walk that path for sure, even if it's only for a short amount of time. Because if you do not let your mind walk down that path, then you cannot fully understand how these people operate. You cannot understand the systems they're employing. You cannot understand the strategy that they are using because you think like a rational person. You think like someone who wants to help his fellow man, not control and enslave his fellow man. And if you continue to think like that, you're going to miss the big picture because they do not care about the fellow man. They do not want to see humanity progress. They want to see progress for themselves, and that's it. Progress for them, and slavery and institutional suicide. And that's what it is. It's institutional intellectual suicide that we're suffering from right now. And the reason I say it's suicide is because the people are choosing to go through with this. Even when, you know, half the time I know for a fact these kids aren't so goddamn stupid that they just automatically believe everything. When they hear half of this bullshit, you know these kids are questioning it, but they're just not opening their mouths. Then, and eventually they begin to believe it. But when they first go in there, they know for a fact that they were just fed a lot of bullshit. But instead of saying anything that first day, they keep their mouths shut. They hide from it. They pretend like it's not a big issue and they just say, all right, well, I'll ignore that and get the rest of the knowledge out of this class. I'll ignore that and I'll just pay attention to the other stuff. But the problem is, when something's being taught day after day and you hear it day after day, whether you like it or not subconsciously, that's going to become part of you. You will be programmed to be whatever they've been trying to program you to be. Same thing in the military. They're going to tell you that you're worthless and that you're not strong enough and that you have to try harder every day, no matter whether you gave it the best, no matter if you've accomplished 20 times more today than you did yesterday when you tried the same thing. They're still going to tell you it was fucking shit, it was worthless, you need to try harder. Not because you didn't excel, not because you didn't do good enough the first time, or this time, or the time before that. It's because they continuously break you. They have to continuously push you. Because if you become comfortable, well, then the programming's done. So every day they feed you the same thing, knowing that it's a lie, knowing that you've achieved more than they expected you to achieve in your short amount of time, whatever. They still are going to feed that message to you. They're going to keep driving that message that you aren't doing good enough home so that you'll continue to push yourself further and further. Well, the elites are using that same programming technique. They're just using the schools and the TVs and your music industry and your celebrities to do it instead of a drill sergeant demeaning you every day. Instead, they're subconsciously breaking you down by throwing celebrities in your face and telling you that that's what's and things like this, telling you this is what society wants, that this is what you're supposed to be, that this is what you're supposed to think, this is how you're supposed to talk, this is how you're supposed to dress, this to be. That is what they tell you. And a lot of us have fallen into it. A lot of people fell for it. I almost did. You know, when I was a young kid, I just wanted to be cool. But I was so weird and hated and came from such a broken family that I couldn't fit in with the normal people. And eventually it got to a point where I was ostracized so much that eventually I just became the kind of person that doesn't need anyone else, that doesn't care about other people and other people's opinions. I don't want to be cool in your eyes. I don't want to be friendly. I don't want to be what you consider to be good. I don't care what you think. And it took me not that long to become like that, but I had to become so emotionally scarred and disconnected that I no longer gave a fuck about anything that anyone thinks. The only people's whose opinions might make me change something would be my children. And that's a might. I still may not change anything if they ask me. I can't tell you because up until now, I literally have not given a fuck what anyone thinks, no matter who they are or what their ties to me are. So, you know, I have a set of armor that I've had since I was a kid that kind of makes me impervious to the bullshit that the rest of these kids in my generation dealt with, that morphed these kids into your pretty boy, I want to be this, that, and the other, gotta wear this brand of clothes, just all this typical trendy bullshit that you see, okay, people? All that's what I'm getting at here. Now, again, that kind of tying that back into like with your Muslim culture. Those people don't dress like we do over here. Those people don't have obsessions with brand names. Those people don't have obsessions with Netflix and this alcohol and that alcohol. And they don't have obsessions with this model and that model and this and that and this and that. The Middle Eastern culture is, yes, they are modern age, whether we want to believe it or not. Before we bombed the fuck out of them, they actually had a pretty modern society. We bombed them back to the Stone Age. That's our fault. They had infrastructure. We destroyed it. We did it. Not their constant warring with each other. They managed to go to war against themselves for thousands of years and managed to keep their societies intact and progressing. America came in there. The UN came in there and ruined the Middle East for profit. That's all it's about. Whether you want to believe it or not, and whether you want to admit that to yourself, that's your own hangup. I don't give a fuck. That's just like you have to eventually admit to yourself that 9/11 was an inside job and it's been covered up and we've been lied to about it. Until you can admit that to yourself, there's nothing I can say to you that's going to change your mind. There's nothing I can say that's going to show you the truth until you start accepting the truth for what it really is and you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together for yourself. I can put the puzzle together all day long. I can super glue the back of that bitch, laminate that motherfucker, and have that puzzle completely done and put on my wall for all to see. And you still wouldn't be able to get the bigger picture until you built that puzzle yourself. Okay? You won't understand the grand magic behind it all until you've done it yourself. Just like I tell people, you can't understand the nature of magic until you've gone and practiced magic, until you've seen it, until you've experienced demons, and until you've studied demonology. You really don't know what you're dealing with or what you're getting yourself into until you've experienced these things. I can tell you the horror stories all day long. You can look up the horror stories on YouTube all day long about what happens when you summon a demon into your life and things of this nature. You can find all these videos. I can sit here and rant for the next 2 hours and tell you about 15 personal experiences I had that terrified the shit out of me. But you're not going to believe it You're not going to take that information in until it actually happens to you. And once you've seen it and you've experienced it, well, then you're going to go back and watch all those videos over again and go, holy fuck, man, it played out just like this guy's did, or it played out so similar to this, I need to share my story now. You see what I'm saying? Nothing you're going through hasn't been gone through before. That being said, again, I'm gonna, like I said, I'll be all over the place until my co-host gets here. That's just how it works. I got a very scatterbrained mind, but nonetheless, when we're talking about the migrant crisis, again, stop hating people, but at the same time, you know, I'm not saying just lay down and accept a bunch of migrants into your country because, like I said, in Western culture, whether you want to hear it or not, whether you like it, whether you agree with it, it does not matter. Facts are facts. Okay? Their culture, Western culture, conflict with each other. They do not fit together. They are not two pieces of a puzzle that you can link together and have a synchronistic and beneficial fitting into place. It just doesn't happen. Muslims have their certain culture and their way of life. I don't like their culture. I don't approve of it, but that's their culture. Just like there's many people out there that don't approve of my culture. And there's many people out there that don't approve of your culture. And if you're Christian, there's even more people that don't approve of y'all's culture at this point because there's so many people that go out there and make Christians look like a bunch of giant asshats. Always. And y'all don't say enough to them. Y'all don't shut these people down enough. And, the pagans and the Satanists and the atheists and the Wiccans and, your Buddhists and your Muslims and all these other people, we can't keep talking to these guys because everyone just calls it hate speech from us. We're attacking the Christians when we say it. But y'all know just as good as I do that many of y'all's so-called pastors out there are spreading a message of hate that is insanely one second, everybody. I've got somebody that's trying to view our show, so let me put a message to him real quick. Okay, so back to what I was getting at, though, is like it's just a bunch of random hatred that is, it's not that I hate that we should hate them. See, hate is dividing everybody, and trust me, it's hard for me to say that because I hate everybody. I really do. It's a deep-seated hatred that I can't get rid of. I wasn't supposed to be born a human being, but blind hatred. See, that's what I have an issue with. You people are hating these people for the wrong reasons. Y'all don't hate them. Y'all hate them because of 9/11. Y'all hate them because your government's told you to hate them. That's where your problem lies. You don't hate them because you see what's going on with their culture, or you see what's going on with their women and children, and you have a deep-seated problem with that. You guys hate them because your government tells you they're bad, and all your government shows you is Islam. They don't show you the Muslim culture, they show you Islam. And when you see Islam, you see radicalization. When you see Muslims, it's a different situation altogether. They are not one and the same, and that's the main point I'm getting to, people. If you're gonna hate, learn how to hate the right things and hate people for the right reasons, or just hate them for reasons like I do. The simple fact that they're human beings and human beings deserve to be hated. Um, that's where you got to draw the line. You know, random hatred gets us nowhere. That's why we have such a bad division in this country, and it's getting worse and worse. So, getting out of that topic and onto some other topics, you know, we've got more tensions building up around the world, as in more people are placing more troops here and there. They're starting to perform more and more major drills that are, in my opinion, intentionally put out there. They're intentionally doing them in certain areas to instigate some of our, well, I don't know if you what you would call them. I guess they're all enemies to America at this point, but nonetheless, we're out there antagonizing people right now. We're instigating the fight because we can't get anybody to throw the first punch. See, we've been trying. We've been trying real hard to get Russia to throw that first punch or to get China to throw the first punch. Now we've started bullying North Korea again, trying to get them to throw the first punch. The bankers need World War III right now. They need it. If they don't get it, all their plans are going to fall apart because the only thing they can do is collapse the economy. But without a major war, the people are going to know. They're going to see exactly what happened. They're going to see who collapsed the economy. And the bankers can't have that. They've worked in the shadows since the beginning. They don't work in the light. Therefore, when they see that the people know, they're going to panic. So they're not going to collapse the economy until they get a war. That, or they might do it right as if they can get Trump impeached, they'll probably crash the economy the same day they impeach Trump, and then they can blame it on him and his impeachment, and it caused the economy to collapse. So, all right, Brandon is on his way home, so he will join in here in just a minute. Yay, I hate doing these things by myself. It's nowhere near as fun. So yeah, we've talked about the migrants a little bit, and hopefully y'all understand where I'm coming from. I'm not defending any of the attacks that have happened on any sovereign nation soils. I'm not defending any attacks that have happened or will happen at all. I'm just trying to explain to you, because the minute it happens, everybody jumps up and starts screaming that it was an ISIS fighter, that it's a radicalized Muslim. Number one, it's Muslim. It's a radicalized Islamicist. Islam is what they're promoting. Islam is the problem, not the Muslim culture. Islam is the problem. Okay? Now, that being said, your governments are lying to you. They have been for a long time. They will continue to lie to you because that's the only way they can keep y'all in support of their fake wars. Their wars for Israel. Israel can't win their own wars over there. You see, that's why America is always taking out everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody in the Middle East. Taken out by America. And we're doing it for Israel. Welcome, Brandon.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to take my daughter to my mother's house because I got to work tomorrow.
Oh, it's all good. So have you heard anything from this episode so far, or do you know what I'm kind of discussing with the people, or do you want me to bring you up to speed, or what's going on? You there? Hola, ¿cómo está?
Hello?
There you are.
Okay. No,
all
I
right,
haven't heard anything.
All right, so I'll basically kind of go like recap what I've been talking about for like the past 30 minutes or so. But all right, so basically what my overall point was that I was getting to with these people is like I was talking about the difference between Muslims and Islam. The difference between you know, what Islam is and the Muslim culture. Now, and I've tried to explain to people, all right, I have a theory, Brandon, and here's my theory. You know how all these attacks happen, they've been happening along Europe and stuff like that, you know? Well, I don't believe that every single person that has been involved in these attacks is a radical Islamicist. I don't believe these are just radical fighters that snuck in. I think some of these people may genuinely just be Muslims that got over to the Western side, and you got to understand, to them, we've got to be the epitome of walking demons. You know what I mean? Our culture, almost everything we do is sinful to them. So when they see us, to a truly devout Muslim, we would probably look like walking demons.
Yeah, like
so if you were truly devout in your,
they're forced to come over here as refugees. They are forced to come over here as refugees. Like, they're herded up like sheep by their government and forced to come over to Western countries where they know absolutely nothing about it, and all they see is all this, you know, pretty much everything they see is something that goes against the Quran. And it
exactly.
Like,
it scares them. And what do you do when you are faced with something you're scared of or mortified of? 9 times out of 10, you'll attack it.
Exactly.
It's self-preservation. Now, I'm not defending any of these attacks. I'm just trying to give people an outlook to where they're not feeding the mainstreams fucking, okay, every Muslim is bad, or, you know, Muslims aren't bad at all. This whole thing is backwards. You've got one side of the media telling people you have to hate Muslims, and then you've got another side of the media telling them that they have to love them and bring more in. And that's just the thing. What I'm getting at is their culture cannot mix with our culture. It does not work.
No, it doesn't at all. They are polar opposites.
No, I was just saying, so that's basically what I was getting into. So, man, feel free to throw in whatever you want to talk. Like, go ahead and talk about this for a few minutes or whatever. But I've been going on for 30 minutes now. So take over.
But no, like, they're forced to assimilate into our culture, and pretty much everything about our culture goes against everything they're raised to believe. You know, here you have open homosexuality. Over there, they throw homosexuals from rooftops. They beat them to death with rocks. You know, over here, shoplifters, like, you go into Walmart, you take a can of food and shove it in your pocket and run out the door. You might spend the night in jail and get flat with like $150 fine. Over there, you go into a supermarket and try to steal something, you're going to get your hand chopped off. You know, they don't deal with things the way we do. They're not used to our easygoing way of life.
They're not used to our, and another thing is they see the women over here, and the women have more power than the men here. Whether y'all want to fucking admit it or not, y'all do.
Yeah, you want to see a woman that's got more power than any man out there? Let her take her husband to court for child support.
I mean, they see that women here are almost the ones that get to call the shots, whereas over there, the woman doesn't even, they're not allowed to speak unless spoken to.
Exactly. They're not allowed to go outside their house unless they're with their husband.
And if they do and they're caught, they get stoned to death. So like I was saying, we cannot accept these migrants, but that doesn't excuse our blatant hatred of them, nor does it, but it also, like, I'm not defending their attacks, but I'm explaining to you there is a reason these attacks could be happening, and it has nothing to do with fucking ISIS.
No. I mean, of course, ISIS is a problem. Because to be honest,
I don't believe that there's plenty of ISIS fighters making it in. I said that in the beginning. Of course there is. We've been funding the fucking people. I highly doubt we're not sending them to the European countries. But
exactly.
a lot of these attacks, I'm telling you, I don't think these are ISIS related. I think they're just letting ISIS take credit for it. I think these are just terrified people that look around and they see nothing but demons everywhere they look.
Yeah, and they believe that they should be responsible. Like they have it in their mind that they're supposed to eradicate anything that goes that hard against their religion.
And not only that, but you have to understand, these people truly do believe they are in a religious war, and you want to know who's to blame for that? All of your UN soldiers that y'all sent over to these fucking countries and allowed them to wear their crosses openly. You allowed them to have fucking tattoos of Jesus Christ all over them and shit like that, and read their Bibles from megaphones. Do you know what y'all did? Y'all instigated a fucking crusade. That's what y'all did.
Yeah.
We did that. Y'all can't blame the Muslims for that one. We went over there and we instigated the crusade with our Christian soldiers.
Absolutely.
And again, I'm not defending what these people are doing, but us acting like we had nothing to do with it, and like America and the UN are just innocent in this whole thing, that these motherfuckers are the evil ones. No. The only reason they're evil towards us now is because we forced them into our areas. We're the ones who brought them to us. Otherwise, they would have been fine. I mean, just like I was saying earlier, and Brandon, you can vouch for this. Before America and the UN stepped into the Middle of the East, those people had a modern fucking culture, and then we flew them back to the Stone Age.
Yeah, we really did.
You know, we say that they're all unsophisticated and unrefined. That's because we took out all their sophistication and we took away their refineries. We took away all of their modern luxuries. We literally bombed them back to the Stone Age.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like we just, I mean, it's not like we didn't just, you know, go over there and blow the hell out of them. You know, I mean, you can expect them to come over here. And, you know, of course, they're going to be pissed too. They're not going to be happy that we blew the hell out of them.
They know that when they know that every attack, that everything we've done to them has been based on a lie, and the people have heard the truth, but the people are choosing to ignore it. Do you not think that would piss them off? Think about it like this. Say that somebody killed your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, whatever. Say you knew who killed those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You knew it, but somebody else had been trying to tell you that, you know, it was this person, it was that group, it was this gang over here that did it, when you know for a fact already who was. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to go target that gang? Or are you going to go target the people that did it and be extra pissed because they tried to divert you away from them?
Exactly.
Y'all just have to stop believing in lies, man. That's what it... Like I said earlier, until y'all accept that 9/11 was an inside job, until you accept that these world elites are psychopaths and do not care about you, you will not be able to see the picture. Think like a tyrant, you cannot understand how tyrants work.
Right. But, hey, man, I'm going to have to dip for a minute. I just ran out of gas on the side of the road.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, sorry, everybody. I will be back here in a little bit if the episode's still going. If not, I will see y'all on the next episode. I apologize. Like I said, I just kind of ran out of gas on the side of the road, and this kind of sucks.
Damn, bro. Well, be safe, and let me know if you get home safe and everything, man.
I will.
All right, brother.
All right, brother.
All right. Well, we appreciate Brandon stopping in for a little bit on this episode. Like I was saying earlier, is like in digressing away from that, now we can talk more about the drills that are going on all around the world that we're using to instigate World War III at this point. And it's the UN instigating it. It's not the UN or not, I mean, not, it's not the Middle East, it's not Russia, it's not China. These people are not making aggressive moves towards us. Our mainstream media goes out there and starts promoting as, you know, what we would call our propaganda. What they go out there and promote as provocative actions from these other countries are actually usually a retaliation to some kind of major drill we just did or a ballistic test that we did that we didn't want to talk about. We are instigators. That's the thing that people need to understand. At this point, the UN, America, our allies, we've all become bullies for Israel. We are Israel's attack dogs. And the quicker people see that, the better off we are. And it's, it's not just Israel. We're attack dogs for Rome. But, even the Vatican's now starting to lose some of its power, in my opinion, because there's just too much scandal wrapped around it. And I'd like to know where in the Bible it ever said that there was going to be a man in a city of Rome that was going to be the direct voice of God on this planet. I don't recall seeing that in the book anywhere, that there was going to be some man that God anointed to speak for him down here. I thought that was Jesus, but maybe I was fucking wrong. I mean, y'all are Christians, y'all let me fucking know. I mean, I've read the book. I don't recall seeing it anywhere in there that there's supposed to be one man that's the direct voice of God and gets to, tell you what God's rules are. And that's another thing. Y'all have to think for yourselves for a minute here. The church, for the past 200 years, ran around screaming that homosexuality is a sin. It's one of the gravest sins that you can do. You have to kill the gays and burn them at the stake kind of shit. But now, as of pretty much last year, the church has totally done a 360 now, and they're totally cool with gay people. Now, how does that just change overnight? If this man can change that, then what else have they changed? What else was there in the beginning that they took out a long time ago? What if there was something in that book that told you you're not supposed to listen to any man on this planet that claims to be the voice of God? What if that was taken out of the book? Because, I mean, think about it. Would that not interfere with the Vatican's little plan? Would that not interfere with the whole grand Pope scheme? You motherfuckers don't think, though. I've seen so many people talk to me and go, well, the Bible told me this, and that's what I fucking believe. And I stick by it wholeheartedly. Well, let me ask you one thing. How can you stick by a book that has been corrupted, that has been taken over by a corrupt system of pedophiles? How? The pedophile organization that is the Catholic Church is the one who canonized the Bible to begin with. They chose what books were okay and what books were not. Y'all do not have a complete Bible. Y'all never have. The public have never had a complete Bible. Nor do you have a proper translation. Do you want to know why? Because you're just automatically assuming that they gave you the proper translation of that book. Do you speak Aramaic? Do you speak ancient Judeo-Christian languages? Do y'all speak Hebrew? Do you speak, as I said, Aramaic? Do you speak Sumerian? Do you speak any of these ancient languages? No, you do not. If you do not, then that means you cannot properly translate that book, meaning you have no fucking clue what it means, what it's actually saying. You have an English Bible, which was written by men, translated by men who had a plan in mind. Wrap your heads around that. I'm not saying don't believe in your one God, okay? That's perfectly fine. If you choose to believe there's one God instead of many, that's fine. No one's saying don't believe in your God. What I'm saying is, don't believe in your church. Does that make sense? You can have your relationship with God because a relationship with God is supposed to be a personal thing, but you do not need a relationship with your fucking church. Your church is corrupt. Your church is backwards, and you don't need to be involved in that. What do you want?
The latest version of the Bible, the King James Version, which everyone uses now, was done by King James. He was a historically devout homosexual.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. And now the church is run by historically devout pedophiles. So, where y'all are fucked up at is y'all are blindly putting faith in a book, not in God. Y'all do not believe in God. Y'all believe in the book. Y'all don't fucking believe in God, because if you believed in God, you would understand that that book means fucking nothing. Stories that were ripped off by ancient cultures. There's no proof that any of that shit happened in the Bible. None. You can't prove a resurrection. Oh, well, these historians documented it. Motherfucker, again with the written by man shit. We're back to the same full circle there with that argument. That's not a valid argument, okay? So you have no proof that the miracles happened. You have no proof that the resurrection happened. You have no proof that that book is anything more than a moral guide of stories like an Aesop's Fables, except it involves deities instead of rabbits and turtles. Do you get what I'm saying, people? Now, I'm not saying, again, I'm not trying to put your religion down and tell you that God doesn't exist, because obviously something exists. You can call it God, you can call it chair, you can call it whatever the fuck you want to. You can call it My Little Pony for all I give a damn. It's your God. You decide what to call it. That's the thing, too. It's not a definitive title. I believe you can name it whatever you want. You can call it this, you can call it that, you can call it whatever, and that deity knows that you're speaking to it because your heart is speaking to it. That's your issue. You people don't speak with your heart, you don't feel with your own feelings, you don't pay attention to your own thoughts, and you let a book tell you what to do and how to feel. Just like you let the TV tell you what to do and how to feel. You not think that maybe the Bible was the first test to see how easy it is to manipulate the people through a piece of literature or through, basically a screenplay of sorts? Just saying. Now, I respect y'all's belief. I just don't respect your book. I think the belief in God is a great thing. I believe trying to live your life by the Ten Commandments, fucking amazing. If you can actually pull that shit off, motherfucker, you lived a life without any kind of sin. No sex, no fucking hating your parents at all, no theft, no murder, none of it. Great job. Kudos, you never fucking lied. Oh my God, kudos to you, motherfucker. But the rest of us, normal people, yeah, to me, the Ten Commandments almost go completely against what I would consider human nature. So, it's not for me. But if you can live that type of life, and you can actually live your book, if you can live by that book 100 fucking %, kudos. But I'm telling you right now, that's not how it works, and I really don't think that's what you're supposed to be focused on. I think you're supposed to be focusing on bettering the planet around you, bettering your neighbor's life, which in turn betters your life, because seeing your neighbor happy and putting positive energy into the world just creates a continuous cycle of more positive energy and positive energy and positive energy. Eventually we can overcome all the negative in the world, but people have to start doing things that extend positive energy into the cosmos instead of constantly spewing a bunch of hatred that gets us nowhere. Now, am I saying that I'm the grand poobah of being able to do that shit? Fuck no. I'm angry, and I'm a douchebag. So, I'm not the spokeschild for this, no. I'm just telling you that, when you look at things and you actually start to think about it, this makes the most sense, does it not? Does this not seem like it would be the plan that would make the most sense? Now, religion. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's talk about how religion overall has divided this world since its inception. Beliefs aren't a bad thing, okay? Beliefs are not necessarily a bad thing. It's more or less when those beliefs turn into an organized structure that is out to benefit itself, which is what the church does. It's an organized structure that's out there to benefit itself, to extend its name farther and farther, publicity. Very good example of what I'm trying to explain here, which I cannot articulate that well because, like I said, my brain's not working the best today. It was hot as hell, and I had a long day. So, um, basically, what I'm getting at is there's a lot that's going on in the world, a lot right now. We need to be getting prepared for whatever's coming. We're not going to like what's coming. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. It's not, none of this is going to just, and everything's going to go back to the way it was. We're seeing a change on the horizon. I don't know exactly what that change is. Maybe it's transhumanism. Maybe we're finally getting to the point where we're going to integrate with machines, and humanity on its own is going to cease to exist because we will no longer be humans as we know them now. Maybe we're headed for the next Civil War. Maybe we're headed for the next American Revolution. Maybe we're headed for World War III. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a future teller. I'm not a mystic. I'm not any of that. What I am is a normal guy that thinks outside the box and thinks 10 steps ahead of the world around me. And I tried to look at the bigger picture, not what's going to happen today or tomorrow, but what's the outcome's going to be from now, 10 years from now. What are we heading for in the long run? See, the here and now, it's important. We can work with that. But you also have to know what's going to come in the long run should you not be able to deal with the problems at hand. What are the consequences for allowing these problems to get out of hand? Does that make sense? Instead of just focusing on the here and now, you have to have a plan for farther down the line. You also have to have an idea go wrong with your plan, what may interfere with the way that your plan is set to take action. You see what I'm saying? You've got a plan for unexpected things. You've got a plan for a long, drawn-out battle, even if you believe in your heart that the battle should take one day with the amount of soldiers and lives you have to throw down. If the battle should take one day, you should prepare for 1 week. Does that make sense? Just because the battle appears like it's going to be easy and it should be over in a matter of minutes does not mean it's going to be over in a matter of minutes. Generally, it won't be over for a long time. So when you're thinking about the way these people work, when you're trying to make your plans, when you're trying to strategize how you're going to win, should a worst case scenario come, and that's all I'm telling you to do. I'm not telling you the end's coming. I'm not trying to tell you that I know for a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, that war is going to kick off, or revolution is going to kick off on this day at this time. Don't know any of that. But what I can tell you is, judging by history and judging by the reoccurring cycles that just seem to happen on this planet and happen in humanity, whether we like it or not, a war situation, whether it be world war, whether it be a war within each of our own countries in which we have to stand against either our neighbors or an invader, it's coming. War is coming, whether you want to admit it to yourself or not. That's the big picture here. Why not be prepared? And say I'm wrong. Say it never happens. Is it so bad that you prepared yourself to be ready for violence? Nobody wants violence to come. Nobody wants chaos in their lives, but you have to be prepared for it should it arise. And most people are not prepared. Most people don't even focus on anything past the day at hand. And when the day at hand is concerned, all they really focus on is going to work, then getting home, and doing whatever their pastime luxury is, whether it be watching Netflix, binge watching Netflix, whether it be listening to YouTube or playing video games or writing music or drawing, painting, reading a book, whatever. Most people don't even have a plan for past what they're going to do starting 10 minutes from when they get off work. Basically, their plan is I'm going to get off work and I'm going to take off my shoes, take a shower, whatever, and I'm going to read this book or watch this show or play this song or play this game. And that's as far as their plan goes. They don't have any plan for what time they're going to bed. They don't have any plan for, like, what if war kicks off 20 minutes after you get home from work while you're sitting there relaxing? Are you going to be able to jump up and be prepared to do something? Or are you going to jump up and panic because you didn't have it, you weren't ready? You get what I'm saying? And I'm not ready. I know Brandon's probably not ready. You know, I don't have money. I can't just prep with a whole bunch of foods that are non-perishable. I don't have a whole bunch of guns and ammo stocked up. But physically and mentally, I prepare myself every fucking day. If I have to go a week without food, I can go that week without food. Can you? If I have to go a couple of days with a very limited amount of water, say I only had 3 bottles of water on me, and that was all I had, I have the ability to stretch that 3 bottles of water for several days. Can you do that right now at this time of year when it's hot as hell? Can your body withstand this kind of heat? If you were stuck outside for 10 hours plus every day, couldn't find shelter to get out of the heat, direct sunlight, can you go without food and water? Most of you can't. That's what I'm getting at with this point. You have to prepare yourself. Not saying you need to go out, buy all these guns and ammo, although that's a great idea. Arm yourself. Definitely arm yourself. Learn a little bit of self-defense. Stock up on foods if you have the ability to stock up on foods. But if you don't have that ability, if you're not rich and you can't just afford to go out there and start stocking up on all this stuff, then my advice would be to start training your body to know how to go without something for an extended period of time. Because say a wartime scenario kicks off, one of the few couple of 100,000 that might survive World War III should it kick off, and y'all have managed to survive through the radiation and anything else like that. All right, say y'all managed to survive through that. Can you survive past that? Can you, like I said, can you go days without food? Can you go days without water? Can you go days without sleep? Can you do anything other than wake up, know that you're hungry as fuck, try to eat a huge meal, get hungry at lunchtime, eat another huge meal, get hungry at dinner time, eat another huge meal, snack in between all those meals, and guzzle down 1,000,000 sodas a day? You see, we as a people have become dumbed down. We can't take care of ourselves anymore. We cannot push ourselves to the limit, let alone beyond the limit. Most of y'all don't even know what your limits are. You've never even reached your limit. You've never tried to. You're scared of trying to reach your limit. Here's the way you've got to think about things, and it's how I try to live my life. And yes, I've pushed myself close to death numerous times, and I will continue to do that until eventually I die. Because eventually I will find my limit, but I haven't found it yet. Every time I've thought I've reached my limit, I've managed to reach inside myself and far exceed that limit. Now, yeah, there were health repercussions from it. You know, yeah, I've had a mild stroke at this point in my life. I've collapsed a few times. I've caused damage to my muscles, and I've caused damage to organs by pushing my body too hard for too long, but that's part of the sacrifice of it all. You have to, it's just, you can't settle for what you can do right now. That is not the purpose of life, to just settle and give up the minute you're comfortable and you found your, when you found your niche, when you found your pinnacle, you shouldn't just stop right there and accept that that's your pinnacle, that that is your limit, because you can go farther. It's as simple as that. You can go much farther than that. I mean, hell, I haven't even begin to reach to the like pinnacle of my limits, and once I do finally reach that limit, I promise you I will find a way to just exceed that. You know? Um, I don't know. Call it the programming I grew up with. Everybody else, while they were watching Teletubbies and Barney, I was watching Dragon Ball Z. And I was reading books on the Knights of Camelot and books about people like Captain Ahab that never gave up on their conquests. I was studying all these great generals throughout history and all of these great wars that have happened. And the main thing that I noticed in all of these, whether it was a fictional story or a real life situation, is that at some point, these conquerors and these warriors got to a point where they thought they had reached their breaking point and their limits. And then, above all odds, against the odds, they managed to reach inside themselves and summon something out of them that gave them an extra boost, and all of a sudden the tide of the battle was turned and these people won. You know, there's multiple cases throughout history where this happens time and time and time again. It's not just a fluke incident that happens every now and then. You see what I'm saying? It's not just random. It's a real life situation. It's a real life, you know, I don't know what you would call it. It's a real life theory that can be proven. I guess put it that way. You can prove this. You can look at history and watch and just look and read. And it's all there. It's all there to show you that there's something more that you can do than just this little bit that you accomplish right now. And I mean, again, it goes back to, if you ever want to achieve greatness, then you have to be willing to overcome the hardships. You have to be able to reach that point where you feel like you can't take anything else, that you will die if you put any more pressure on yourself. And then you triple your pressure. You don't just give up right there. You triple that pressure. You put 10 times that amount of pressure on yourself. You break yourself both mentally and physically, and you will reach a new level. That's how it's done. I'm not feeding you a bunch of bullshit. This isn't hot air. I'm blowing up your ass right now. I'm telling you, when you've reached your limits, push yourself. Put 10 times the amount the pressure that you've already had on yourself. It will break you. But it's a process, because while it's breaking you, you have to build yourself up starting immediately when you feel that break happen. And if you build yourself back up, you will achieve something far stronger than what you are right now, and you will break free of your limitations. That's what I've been doing to myself my entire life. And ask anybody that's known me for multiple amounts of years, and they will tell you they've seen me push myself to my limits. They've seen me exceed my limits. They've seen me go above and beyond. I don't know when to stop. I don't allow myself a weakness. But I'm pretty sure Brandon is not going to get back on here anytime soon. He's dealing with that situation. So I'm probably going to kill this off here soon. I really appreciate whoever's tuned in. If anyone did, if y'all didn't, whatever. Nonetheless, I still appreciate those who will look in on this. You see, I could talk about a whole bunch of the Russia and China drills going on. I could talk about all of this hype and this World War III hype and Yellowstone hype. I could keep doing that. We could talk about that all day. But I'm not in the mood to talk about that shit right now. I don't want more negativity right now. I just want to get a message out there. As y'all can see from the very start of this message the very end of this message, my whole point is do not hate blatantly and do not go out into the world unprepared. Understand that with what we've got now, because of the migrants, because of everything that's going on all over the world, we have a very topsy-turvy, upside-down. Cultures are starting to clash everywhere. It's a smorgasbord fucking cluster fuckfest of culture clashing. It's a clusterfuck of culture clashing right now. And I mean a legitimate clusterfuck. Clusters, and they're all fucking right now. It's a clusterfuck. We are more divided than I've ever seen my people as a whole. White, black, Mexican, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Philippine, countries I don't even know how to pronounce. We are all divided like a motherfucker. We cannot agree on anything. We cannot get along. Our countries are starting to divide because no one can agree on anything. Maybe the worst thing we should be doing right now is sitting around focusing on memes and just high school he said, she said bullshit constantly. Maybe for right now, we should start preparing ourselves because something's coming. What it is, I don't know. Like I said, I am no kind of fucking guru. I don't know any, I can't tell you what to do. I can't necessarily tell you even how to do everything that but I can give you the idea. I can plant the seed, and either you choose to water that motherfucker or you end up with a barren desert in the near future, and, well, of course, you're going to starve and die. And those people that watered that seed that was planted today, they'll have understood that shit was coming. They stopped, they thought about it, they got prepared, they pushed themselves beyond their limits. They will make it. Unless a bomb falls directly on them, they will fucking make it because they're strong. If you don't water that seed, if you ignore everything that's been said by not just me, but many fucking people out there, if you ignore what's been said and you do not do something, anything, to prepare yourself, then may the buzzards have you, because I'm not going to go back and save you. Hopefully no one else is going to waste their time trying to save you. If you didn't listen to the warnings and you weren't intelligent enough to just, if self-preservation did not kick in with you internally when you felt that negative energy, that negative wave coming your way, and you didn't prepare for it, then let the buzzards have you. You deserve what you fucking get. Okay? I'm one of those people that I believe you have to work for every fucking thing you get. If you want to be happy, you have to work to be happy, because you're not born happy. Life is not a happy process. Life is not a good process. Life is not a fun process. Life is shit from the day you're born till the day you die. You have to work to make it anything other than shit. You, not your God, not your angels, not your demons, not your devils. None of that applies. You have to work to make your life a better thing. You have to put in the hours. You have to put in the blood, sweat, and tears. God isn't going to do it. Okay? Blind faith will get you nowhere. Not in this point in the world. Maybe at some point in history, God actually answered our prayers. Maybe at some point in history, there was a God out there that listened to us. But he's long gone. She, it, they, him, Jim, Tim, all of them. All the gods. They may have listened at some point. But they're gone now. They're not here. They're not listening. They're not helping. Nobody's there. You're there. You are in control at this point. You may say this is blasphemous. Whatever. I don't give a fuck what you think. I've established that as well. I've established that since day one on this channel. I do not give a fuck what you think. If you get offended, too bad. You're offended. Oh my god. World's coming to an end. Might go pull Chester Bennington, won't you? If you're offended, fuck you. This isn't about being offended. This is about being real and being as blunt as possible. My experience, and I can honestly say I'm almost willing to bet you 120% that Brandon, if he got back on here, or if I ask him this same question tomorrow, he'll tell you the exact same thing that I'm telling you right now. And I can probably get about 15 other people right now off the top of my head that if I asked them the same question, they would probably give you the same answer I am. There may have been gods at one point that cared, that were helping us, that were there guiding humanity. They are not here anymore. They do not care anymore. We have fucked up as a people, as an entire race, as human beings. We fucked up. Somewhere along the line, we fucked it all up. There is no divine energy helping us anymore. We're on our own. That's why you see corruption, violence, death, chaos, everything. That's why it's everywhere. That's why it's worldwide now. That's why it's like a fucking plague. That's why it's getting worse every year instead of better. That's why it's all falling apart. That's why everything's falling to shit. Because the gods got tired of us not putting out an effort. And they left. They gave up on us. I would have done the same fucking thing. In fact, I'm starting to feel like I'm going to do the same fucking thing because y'all don't listen. When y'all do listen, y'all don't pay attention. When y'all do pay attention, y'all don't put any action into anything. Fucking cycle here. A big process. And y'all are just trying to skip from one step to the 5th step. And y'all don't understand that you have to take those other 4 steps. You can't just jump from 1 to 5. It's not how life works. You don't take shortcuts. You don't take breaks. You don't take the easy way because it's fucking easy. You take the hard way. You suck it up. You grind through the pain and the misery of it all. You don't commit suicide. You don't give up. That's the big thing. You don't fucking give up either. You keep going. As much as the journey sucks, and you're going to be alone through 95% of it. You might have some friends or some family that are here and there periodically, but you are going to deal with this journey 95% of the way by yourself. You alone. You are going to feel your emotions. You are going to struggle. You are going to experience your pains, your trials, your accomplishments, and your errors. You will experience all of this. People every now and then. It may affect other people every now and then. But you wholeheartedly will feel every step of this journey on just an exponential level. You will feel every step of the way. It's going to be a jarring impact with every step you take. Is doing this. No one's making your legs move throughout the walk. No one speeds you up into a run when it's time to get the fuck on down somewhere. No one but you is in control of this journey. Now, your path may be predestined. That's why I say at some point there were gods here, because they predestined everybody's journeys, and then they just left. The reason I say it's predestined is, like I've said before, it feels like no matter how hard I try to steer myself away from certain things that I've seen in my future, I'm always back up on the same path where I see that same future, even though I tried my best to steer down a road that went to the left just to see if I could avoid that future I was seeing. It's unavoidable. It's there. No matter which path I take, it always circles back around to the same goddamn spot. Okay? So, it's predestined. But, they fucked up. We fucked up, and they fucked up. They fucked up. I say they because I believe there's more than one God. you can say there's one God. He fucked up because he left. We fucked up because we forced him to leave. We forced him to remove his hand, probably because we pulled another obligatory Dragon Ball Z reference. Dragon Ball Z, the Dragon Balls have the power to grant you any wish as long as you gather all 7 of them. Well, humanity overuses them from the series Dragon Ball all the way through Dragon Ball Z. They just use them for random things. Half the time they don't even really need to. They abuse the power of the Dragon Balls. Dragon Ball GT rolls around, the Dragon Balls crack under the negative energy, and all that negative energy is released. And blah, 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 blah. God was our Dragon Balls. We have overused those Dragon Balls, and now they have left. And when they left, the world was infected with negative energy. Look at it like that. It's a simple way to look at it. And if you can't fathom how it goes, go watch the series from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball GT, and exactly what I just told you would play out in the story of the Dragon Balls. And just instead of looking at those things as Dragon Balls, give them the name God. And then look at the story of how they are used for these things that we considered grand purposes. Okay? That's just the thing. Every time they used the Dragon Balls, they would use it to, like, revive the Earth, or bring someone back that had died in battle, to do this or that. These were noble things that they used the Dragon Balls for, except for, like, the first one in Dragon Ball when the pig dude wished for a pair of panties or something. That wasn't... other than that one wish, they were all wishes that benefited humanity, right? Okay? Same thing. Now, look, Dragon Balls, God. Wishes, prayer. Too many people prayed for selfish reasons. God left the building. Negative energy was left from all the selfish prayers. Makes sense now? You get the big picture there? Do you see what It's pretty simple. In fact, like I said, you can use any reference you want. But I find Dragon Ball Z is a very good way and a very simple way to explain a lot of things to a lot of people. It's a very easy metaphor because most people have seen that. If you haven't, well, you fucking suck. And you should go watch it. Asshole. Saying pride, bitch. No. But, we have an issue as people that we feel inferior. So, because we feel inferior, we come up with excuses and reasons for why things don't go the way we want. And we find cop-outs, and we find all these human limitations to explain why we're not achieving great things. These are straight cop-outs, people. These are excuses. They are weaknesses. That is not what we're supposed to be. Humans are not supposed to be weak. If we've accomplished all the things they've said we've accomplished, then somewhere in the past century we have taken a drastic U-turn back towards the Stone Ages, or the Dark Ages, at least. We've definitely taken a turn back towards the Dark Ages. You can, oh, no we aren't. Technology keeps advancing. We're getting smarter. No, we're not actually. There's scientific studies that have proven, thanks to all this fancy technology, the population as a whole has become dumber and dumber by every generation, because now people can't hold or retain information at all. All they retain is the source of where to find that information. They also cannot hold attention for more than a few minutes on just about anything, because they've been programmed by technology and TV and video games to not only multitask, but to have to constantly change. Things have to be exciting and new with every few minutes. It can't be the same thing for too long, or it's too redundant, and you lose focus. We've been programmed to be this way, and it's not how we've always been. But, Yeah, I was trying to hang on, see if Brandon might come back. I guess he's not. So, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Um, just keep these thoughts in your head, man. Pay attention to what was said here tonight. Take some of it to heart, and if you don't agree with everything, so be it. That's what debate is for. That's what having free thought and personal opinion is all about. You don't have to obligatorily agree with every fucking thing I say. In fact, I want you to disagree with 95% of what I say. I would like to be wrong on all of this. But as Brandon would tell you, and I've proven it many times over the past few years, I'm usually not wrong when I'm not just talking out of my ass. I've lived a very intense life and I had to grow up extremely fast and learn a lot of things at a very young age, which left me with a just constant search for more knowledge. There's never enough now. And, I'll spread that here with y'all, and I will continue to talk about things of this nature. And yeah, a lot of people are always going, well, the main things you seem to get onto are religion. You just seem to attack religion. Well, yeah, because religion is causing the problems. Religion has played a huge part in the dumbing down and this pussy whip society we have today. Religion has caused a lot of the major wars and conflicts. Religion is being corrupted and used against the people, and it has been for a long fucking time. Religion is an enemy all on its own. And the faster you figure that out, beliefs are not a bad thing. Religion is a horrible thing. Does that make sense? Anyway, that's our catch for, that's just how it is here. Like we always say, keep it real, keep it metal. This is one of the most real things you're going to get. It's in your face. We're going to talk about things. And, should I ever become a Christian, maybe I'd stop, I won't be as harsh towards God, but I'm still never going to believe that book. Now, if the Judeo Christian God finds me and speaks to my heart, and all of a sudden that story is proven to be right to me by that omnipotent being, like I said, I will gladly acknowledge that God's existence, but I will not acknowledge that book because I know in my heart that that book has nothing to do with God. God doesn't need a book. He never needed a book. If you have a spiritual connection with a God, it's going to tell you spiritually in your mind and your heart the minute you get in touch with it exactly what it wants you to do to make it, to appease it. It's going to tell you exactly what it expects of you. You're going to know. It's going to instantaneously fill you with the knowledge that you need to be a good servant. That is how God works. He doesn't need a fucking book that was written by fucking people that can be corrupted and manipulated by fucking people so that they can fuck people. Mainly children, but they fuck people because of that book. Do you understand? Okay? Like, books are, to an extent, when it's something that you use as a tool for belief, that thing, when it gets to a, it's like that when you start a rumor of one person and you tell it to 100 people, by the time the rumor makes it back to you, it's not the same rumor at all. In fact, it's changed so much you don't even recognize the rumor that you started. You want to know? That's the same thing that happens with your religious books. It is the same thing. You cannot have these stories passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation and changed a little bit each generation and expect to have the true story from the beginning. Do you know what the Bible is? The Bible is fiction based off of truth. There was truth in it. They fictionalized the whole fucking book now. It is fiction based off of truth. Just like there you have your movies that are, you know, like you'll see your Texas Chainsaw. It's a fictional movie based off of a real event. The Bible is a fictional story based off of real events. Well, some sort of real event. One of those events was real. We don't know which one. And there's a truth somewhere in there. Where is the big fucking question now, isn't it? Again, y'all keep it real, keep it metal. We will catch y'all tomorrow because, like I said, I hate fucking doing these episodes by myself. So tomorrow I'm going to have a co-host. God damn it. We'll see y'all tomorrow. About 7:30, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. Thanks for tuning again, and we appreciate y'all supporting the channel as much as y'all have. Y'all keep it up.